After a 1-2 finish in the opening round in Monte Carlo, Toyota and the WRC ventured further north than ever before, to the wilderness of frozen Lapland, where Rovaniemi played host to Arctic Rally Finland.
It's always a little bit of a shock when you first step onto the ice and snow again. It's a bit of a shock how much grip is actually available for the most part, and then as soon as you get your feet under, then it's always a lot of fun to drive like this. The grip we have is phenomenal. It's not the same as driving your road car in snow and ice. Of course, we have these new tyres with the 7mm stud, which gives a lot of grip, so it's always a fantastic feeling.
After winning the season opener, world champion Seb Ogier would be first out on the stages, and despite the Finland-based team's home advantage, he'd be up against it.
Being first on the road very often make the life difficult on snow, but still there is some situations sometimes where it can be actually quite nice driving in the front. The grip is just a little bit lower. Enjoyable to drive, but the time is just not coming, so that's the frustrating part of it.
A lot of the car's development has been done here in Finland, and therefore you tend to find that the general DNA or the core features of the car really suit this sort of roads, and especially the faster roads. So it can be a bit more difficult when you start to have a lot of loose snow. Then it becomes a bit more unpredictable. Visibility can be quite difficult, and of course the pace notes become very important then, but actually it's not so much anticipating what's coming, it's actually seeing the side of the road sometimes that can be very difficult.
Brand new pace notes were required for the event, even for the winner of last year's national level Arctic Lapland Rally.
So many of the stages are in different directions, so it will be new stages, so basically it's almost like a new rally for me, but sometimes when it's like proper overcast weather, that you don't really have the contrast of light, it's really hard to see the banks and even the road. Sometimes it all looks just white and flat, so it can be really difficult to see the corners and places. And then many times when you have the sun really low, it's really bad visibility.
Finland replaced Sweden on the calendar this year, so Toyota had spent early February trying out their new Pirelli tyres on location in pre-event testing.
We had a chance to do a couple of days testing ahead of this rally, and overall the feeling was still positive from the car, to be honest. We already had from last year, but that said, there were some changes with the new tyre, for example, that we had to adapt the chassis a little bit because it was working in a slightly different way.
We had one day with a lot of snow, very snowy in Jyväskylä area, where it was, to be honest, quite a struggle. I was not really happy on that day. I think the tires were not really fitting perfectly, so it was important to collect a lot of data and try to adapt the setup, adapt a little bit for the rally.
In temperatures reaching -25°C, the mechanics' job was to keep the Yaris WRCs performing to their maximum, with the help of feedback from their two early title contenders.
I think with these conditions you have a challenge in that you need to try and maximise traction, because of course we're still driving on ice and snow, although the tyre does give a lot of grip. You still need to maximise that grip available, which normally means you would want a very soft car. But of course then on the flip side to that, with such fast terrain, the roads are so fast, you also then need to find some precision.
I came here last year. I was first trying to learn the car as it was, but of course after a while then you have the chance to bring a little more things into the development of the car and more your feedback and your input into it, so it worked very well.
Ogier suffered a disappointing weekend, while local hero Kalle Rovanpera led home 3 Yaris in the top 6, with second his highest ever finish, meaning the young Finn ended his trip to Lapland as the championship leader.
The level of the sport is really high, and like we have all these guys who are fighting for the championship, they have a lot of experience, like Seb and now also Elfin. It's nice to have the feeling that you want to be in the same pace or faster than them, and when you can do that, it's really nice.